And how do you manage to capture the most naked and realistic moments like you do in your photos?
Well, I mean, depends of what real, what situations we're talking about, really. If we're talking about people, the people we help, for me, the most important thing is to make contact. So normally before I come with my cameras, and of course, I'm a big white man, so I'm sure I do have a sort of visual impact, which can be also imposing, and I try to, to calm that a little bit by, sitting down, talking to the people, putting the camera where it is visible, but not using it, just putting it, for example, on a table or on a chair, so that they see what I am there with, and the people have an understanding that I'm there to do my job as a photographer. But before I start that, I try to build a relationship with the people and make sure they understand, who I am and what I am there to do, and what the implications are for them, what value or, what help can be brought to them through the work of storytelling for WFP.
But what makes you interested in working in such high-risk areas?
It's not an interest per se. You do it because someone has to do it. I'm kind of person that doesn't really stop and think about the danger, if there is any danger. I don't never dwell upon, when I went to do, for example, Ebola or the conflict in Central African Republic, where suddenly they also started shooting in the camp where we were photographing, so we had to leave, and then we were locked in the hotel for 3 days because of the killings that were taking place in and around the city, the violence. So, but when I do this, I never think in terms of how dangerous it might be. I always think in terms of trying to capture the story in the most dignifying way possible, trying to bring attention to both the crisis and the help that is needed. This is my focus, really, when I'm working. I don't, it's already hard to be, as said earlier, a white man and come into, an African country, and try to relate yourself to the people. So, for me, it's really, really important that it's not about what I am doing, but what I am delivering at the end and how I'm delivering it. So, photographing people in a way of not showing just the degradation they're living in, but more to bring attention to the problems that they're living, conflict, drought, whatever situation may be, really putting the entire community at risk.
Yeah. But what makes exactly your job so important, and how important is it to document the situation with help from other photographers and photographers like you?
It's very important. It is very important to bring attention to the issues of the world. For example, you have Yemen now as an enormous problem, the conflict there, and the way the people are living, the conditions. So, working with other photographers, I have great colleagues in Yemen that do very well with their cameras. So, in that way, we're pretty fortunate that we don't have to look for a photographer. We already have staff on the ground that are pretty good. And it's really important to bring attention to the disasters that conflict brings to the people of the world. So, for me, so long as the images that we choose and that we use maintain the dignity of the people, this is a big discussion for me. This is a big point because, for example, if you're showing the photo of a mother that has been through, shelling and explosions, and she's trying to feed the child, and the photographer draws attention to the dirt that is in the child's face, doing it in such a way that the attention is not drawn anymore to the conflict situation, but more to the carelessness of the mother, which is not the point. The point is that this mother does not have a condition to take care of her kids, and this is the story you want to tell. And, these things are just, a fine difference. If you look at a sandwich, a McDonald's sandwich, the real one, and then you look at the photograph that the photographer has taken for the ad, they're not exactly the same thing. So what I'm saying is that a photographer has an enormous power to tweak the reality and to show the things in a different angle. And to me, it is important that the angle needs to be neutral and show the issue and not try to transform that issue into something that gets more media attention.